This is Relationship Talks with Rick and Namon. I'm Rick.
And I am the DJ Blue.
And he's Namon.
I just told you. We just explained this. I am the DJ Blue. You call me the DJ Blue.
We got to go through this every week.
That's the thing. We're going to go through it every time.
And today we have a very special guest, Dr. Saudia Twine.
Welcome.
Hey.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you all?
Doing well.
Shaking and baking.
So,
Okay.
That's it.
You are a licensed marriage and family therapist, correct? Oh, and a minister.
Whoa.
Don't want to forget that.
And professional counselor.
Boom.
When were you gonna tell me she was a minister? When were you gonna slide
It's like
that
the quiet
in there?
truthful threat. I just slid it in there.
You're
You
gonna
see
He's
it
gonna
right?
tell you doing your best behavior, DJ Blue. No.
I know. I'm gonna have to. He
always
didn't say
on
that
his
at
worst
first. He didn't say that at first.
And
Be yourself.
And the reason why I know of you is because of your awesome podcast, Eros Meets Agape.
Oh, you're so sweet.
It's
Did he
really
say that
good.
right? Did he say that right? Did you say that right?
Yes, he did.
It sounded right. Like I was surprised. Like you nailed it.
I can't say it wrong, right?
You nailed it. That was good.
All right. So, like, one of the biggest things that I actually learned from your show was about attachment styles. And that's something I had never heard of before. And it made a lot of sense once you said it, because I was in a relationship at the time. And we had
I hear demise in your voice. No.
I was in a relationship at the time.
But it ended because it was terrible.
But we had like two very different attachment styles. And it just didn't work out. And the way hearing you explain it, I can't remember what episode it is, but ladies and gentlemen, if you get a chance, please go check it out. Especially if you don't know anything about attachment styles. Listen to everything, but
I don't know anything about attachment styles.
Well, Dr. Saudia, can you tell us a little bit, just a brief overview about attachment styles?
Okay. It's hard to keep it brief, but I'm going to do my best without butchering it.
You have the floor.
To make a long story short, in essence, your attachment style, look at it as like a dog tag. You know how in the military you have a dog ID, and it tells you the person about you. That's what your attachment style does. It identifies how you are going to show up in a relationship. In essence, it shows how you perceive information when it's communicated to you, then how your brain will interpret and evaluate that information. And based off of all of that, it determines what you think is the best way to respond. And regardless of what your attachment style is, the goal for each person is to reconnect. And it is like an alarm system that goes off. And when that alarm goes off, what happens if it happens in your home? It means that there's an intruder, something's wrong, we need to fix it. And we go towards the source in order to fix it. When your attachment alarm system goes off, so to speak, your goal is to reconnect because you perceive that there's been a threat to the relationship, either by an item, intrusion of work maybe, or a person. And so your job when you reconnect is always going to be determined on your attachment style. And it looks differently from each person based on their attachment style, but in the same sense, the goal in both are to reconnect. You just go about it different ways. And when you don't know any better, you don't know that you're hurting the relationship.
Wow.
That was
Uh,
that was a lot. I'm trying to be a sponge. I'm like, I mean, look, I'm overfilling over here.
So it's like seriously from being in relationships, like I apologize for not having exact attachment style names, but I think I was secure and I was the chaser. Is it something about going towards somebody? Something would happen and I would move towards the person and the person was the opposite. I know.
That's not secure.
Y'all can't see her face right now, but she's making a face letting me know I got her
That's
wrong.
called stalker. You chasing people in the background.
No, the technical term is called anxious attachment. We're going to be really, really technical. It's called preoccupied anxious. And every attachment style outside of secure is anxious because you have anxiety towards either being by yourself or towards developing intimacy.
Ooh.
When you're anxious, we call you a pursuer because you pursue after a person in conversation. And in essence, you know, for anybody that's listening, the concept is imagine that person who texts you 8 to 10 times and you're like, well, how many texts you got to tell me about this same thing? And it's like you're repeating yourself to that person and you'll hear them say that. And it's really for the purpose because in your head, you're saying, you don't get me. You don't understand what I'm saying. So let me say it this way. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't get that either. Let me say it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to communicate to connect, but the person hears it as blaming, nagging, controlling, and demanding, help me get away.
Wow.
Because it's too much.
Whoa, what did you call that again? Because it's still a lot. Like I'm trying, it's like the stuff he's saying, like I'm processing it, but I cannot remember these names.
I mean, this is really deep.
What was the name? What was it? What was that one?
Anxious.
I'm anxious. That's me. I'm that person you just described.
He has abandonment issues.
I do. I've got lots of abandonment, but I noticed them. I mean,
that's the first step.
That is the first step. I'm working through them, and I'm working through not allowing those things to cross over into my relationships, basically.
You all are rare because most men are not anxious.
No,
yeah, I am. I'm super anxious.
Yeah, I definitely am.
I'm super anxious because
70% of men are avoidant. Most women are anxious. So, in all honesty, if I have the luxury of working with a male that is anxious, it is a gift. It is like, girl, do you know this man can communicate his feelings?
You hear that?
This is what I'm saying. Like, yo, like that's real. Like, because the thing is, like, I'm constantly telling people how I feel, and everybody's like, man, you just going over. Like, I'm serious. Like, this is how I feel.
Like, I need to express my emotions.
Like, I have to say how I feel, or I'm gonna spaz, and then it's gonna be like,
and that's good because if you really think about it, most men, if I'm being honest, especially in the African American community, I would say if you're not a millennial, so upward bound, so Gen X, Gen Y, above, they are really taught from growing up, don't cry,
keep everything
be
quiet.
A man, suck it up. And I get the concept, but we communicated it in error because we really need to teach everyone how to communicate. And when we teach our boys to shut down, we don't help them in becoming, should I say, healthily expressing their emotions. So you all have that as a gift. There's a little caveat to that, but in essence, it's the positivity.
It's always a caveat, right?
I think we were taught, honestly, like even back in the day, like they taught them, like, never show that face, never show that fear, and never open up. But I think what they meant to say is, they probably should have put at the end, don't open up to the enemy. Don't let the enemy see that. You know what I mean? Like that probably should have been like hey, don't do this to the enemy, because logically, I mean, it seems like all the things that they said, like, all right, well, don't show this emotion. Do not cry. Don't do these things. Don't do this. And basically the format for being a man, as they would probably say, I think they meant to say, hey, don't do those things in front of the enemy. But I think it's okay to do those things in front of your family. You have to open up in front of those people because those are the people who are closest to you.
I mean, it could be just the way we are, but I've seen a lot of people who close up in those situations, and a lot of times whenever I've closed up and not, been able to express the way that I feel like it ends up making me feel worse physically.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I don't want to carry with me. You carry that burden, your shoulders start to get stiff, and your stomach starts to hurt. And
I don't eat.
It's just like I would rather have it out than in, because it's just way easier to not have that stress on your shoulders and just trying to hold it in and put on a good face when I can't put on a happy face when I'm not happy. I mean, I can fake it for a little while, but I'm not much of a faker.
I think it's just because we're meant to be relational. And when we are relating with other people and we have the vulnerability as well as the space with this individual to be open with them, it allows us to be able to express ourselves in what we feel is a safe environment. It might not be safe, but it allows us the space to be able to do that.
That's crazy.
And a lot of people don't believe in that space as well, don't feel comfortable in it.
I mean, I hope everybody listening is like me. It's like I'm starting to think back on some relationships like, wow, this is really just like putting stuff together for me. It's like it makes so much more sense now.
I've honestly,
I just need to go cry on the couch.
This is all a part of the studying that I've done on my way to my doctorate.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
This is a part.
I'm like, what?
I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book.
His doctorate is in BS. So,
it's called I am the DJ Blue. Love me or leave me alone.
So thinking of all of that, what are 3 questions that we should ask someone when we're thinking about starting to date them? So like I'm single, Namon's single. We just if we're going to date somebody, what are 3 questions that are important to ask at the beginning of a relationship?
Okay, so I'll be honest.
Uh-oh.
I don't like when we interview people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, because if we're looking at a relationship, if you really think about that first time you fell in love, right? You didn't know what to do, what to ask. That's why they call it falling in love. You just kind of stumbled along into it. And it might have been, a little bit scary. You might have been apprehensive, but you just fell into it. So when it comes to dating, I think we need to have healthy boundaries. And when we create the format for these boundaries, then you don't need to ask certain questions because your mind goes off like a radar, letting you know something's not right about this person. And you don't have to wait to figure it out. It just lets you know this doesn't automatically fit. So for instance, if I'm working with someone in a counseling setting, I help them to develop those boundaries. If I'm working with someone in my group coaching formats, then I teach them what should, in their vantage point, based off of their attachment beliefs, it's simply about teaching them how to be able to formulate what is going to be right for them. So in essence, it's not a question particularly to look for, it's an environment. So in answering that, I talk in a lot of acronyms. I went to a university in my undergrad that everything was an acronym. So I've just adopted that format. So I look for the acronym R, and that means, is this person available when you're talking to them? Are they emotionally and physically available to you? Do you have to look for them? Are they consistently there? Or are you looking for them here and there? Are they emotionally available? Do you have to beg them to open up and talk and share? If so, that's a sign something's not right. More than likely showing signs that they are avoiding attachment, people who shut down, that can't show their emotions. Are they responsive when you are talking and engaging with this individual? Are they responsive to you, or are they lost in their words? Can they not find words that express emotion, not thought? If they're not responsive, this is also letting you know that this person does not have a sense of secure attachment style, so that they can build a healthy relational environment that provides intimacy as well as autonomy. And then, do they engage with you? Can they also elongate this conversation to go even greater in depth? So you're looking for the acronym R: availability, responsiveness, and engagement. So not necessarily questions, but if I had to say questions, because I'm single, whenever I'm seeing someone early on, I'm a little weird because I like
How so?
Some people, when they're dating, they can't wait for the first kiss. Like, what's this gonna be like? For me, I am anxious for that first argument because for me, I want to know how you're going to handle it. Are you going to fly off the handle? Okay, you're anxious. I can't deal with that. Or are you going to shut down on me and you don't have anything to say? You're avoidant. Okay, nope, I'm gonna have to pry stuff out of you, or are you secure? You can sit down and talk to me. I might not like everything I'm hearing, but I know that you can sit down and have a conversation with me. So I look for arguments, not I try to create them.
No. That's the funny thing. That's
the difference.
That's still the art,
but
though.
I look for it in an aspect that I'm really watching to see how that person handles that. And then if I just have to ask questions that, in all honesty, because of my history and being a therapist, I can ask particular questions that's going to give me information that a lay person wouldn't have. So for me, I always end up having a conversation asking, what is their happiest moment, saddest moment, most memorable moment, and most embarrassing moment?
That's an actual interview.
Well, it doesn't come out in one conversation. It's over a period of time, and it allows me to be able to see the evolution of that person. So it has nothing to really do with attachment. It's just me and,
it sounds like an application
I don't have 2 years to be getting to know you. So let me get this information in and see, okay, where do I want this to go?
Do you find it hard dating someone? If you're dating somebody, does it always feel like you're counseling, you're working? Because I mean, like your relationship,
that's a good question.
Your focus is relationships, so I can imagine that probably some people would be like, "Ooh, you do what for a living?" Like that's kind of tough. Do you find it hard to turn that off, or is that just something that's part of you now?
You actually asked 2 questions in one. So.
He sure did. He does that a lot.
Do I find it hard? No, because for me, when I'm off duty, I'm off duty. It's like a light switch. I can turn it off. I can turn it on.
But you just said all those questions you asked. That sounds like a therapist. When are your happy times?
That's for me to learn the evolution of that person. So because no one is perfect, I'm looking to see how this person has just grown over the years. Are they willing to grow? What that looks like individually as well as relationally.
That sounds fair to me.
It doesn't has no difference, or should I say, it has nothing to do with their attachment. I can't even. I mean, I could if I did, I know how, but I just ask that to simply find out how that person has evolved over time, to see how they've allowed experiences to help them to grow as just people. Totally different from attachment and how they're going to relate in a relationship. Your attachment style only comes out in a relationship when there's a threat. So if you've been with this person for a year or more, you will have an attachment relationship with them. If it's under a year, it's not going to evidence itself because you haven't developed a closeness to this person. So my questions, not really, but I can turn it on and off. And for me, to be quite honest, I work so much with couples that when I have the ability to be away from my work, I take full advantage of it so I don't get burnt out.
That makes total sense, actually. Yeah.
But to be honest, when it comes to dating, when people ask what I do, it's like I cringe. Like,
do you say something else?
What do you say? What do you say though?
To be honest, I'm going to just tell you all everything.
Just come on.
Let's hear it.
We your best
to
friends.
lie and say, so make a long story short, and I got this years ago, I dated this guy who said he worked for Ford Motor Company.
Right.
I don't probe. So if you tell me whatever, okay,
you're just gonna be like, okay.
Exactly.
End up finding out, I can't remember what I was doing because it was so long ago I was in college. Anyhow, make a long story short, my friend called me and was like, did you know your guy you're dating, he plays football for the Lions?
What?
No, he works for Ford. And she was like,
he works for the Fords.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's him. So when I called him to check him about it, he was like, well, people, kind of want to date me because of what I do. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's not me. So I stopped dating him because he lied. But I took that and said, let me try that with my career. And so I would tell people I teach. Because I'm a graduate school counselor.
She does teach though.
Whoa.
That's not a lie.
That's a lie.
No, she teaches seriously.
I teach.
She does teach.
So, but wait.
So, hold on, she also teaches. Did we not? Hold on, we didn't put that in at the beginning. She also teaches, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on, but so how is that a lie though? You say you usually tell lies. That's what you said.
Used to.
Well, I say it's a lie because in all honesty, even though I do teach, I'm still teaching counseling, which goes back to what I do. So in essence, I'm not being fully truthful. And I'm a minister. So to me, a loophole lie is still a lie. So I was in effect lying.
A loophole lie is still a lie.
I don't know. Got to get my mom. My mom is she has her doctorate in theology. So yeah. That's a lie. I wonder what that ain't a lie. That's
I said that's a lie.
Oh, it is a lie. It is a lie.
A lie.
I was like, I thought she said it's a lie.
No.
Like, you've seen it, doctor.
Like my mom's a doctor. Don't try to test me.
No, I mean that's a lot. I can imagine people, like you think about it, like, oh, if I was rich, would I tell everybody I was rich? I would probably keep it low key.
I would, and then I pull up my diamond, like, you know what? It's not a big deal.
You wouldn't. He wouldn't even be able to keep something like that a secret. He would have like a big blue.
I would go outside. My car would just beep, beep, it just go.
That's how they'll know.
That's how they'll know. That's how they know. And then a little money will just pop out. I have some pennies just fly out.
His cover story wouldn't even make sense. He'd be like, "I work at McDonald's." Yeah, just
I'm a longshoreman. I'm a longshoreman.
To be honest, if I'm not in a work setting, people don't know what I do.
Yeah.
Like social media, I really don't talk. Well, because the nature of my work, I can't really, but I don't talk about what I do. If you meet me in person, if you never say anything, I never say anything because I feel like you shouldn't be defined by what you do.
That's true.
If it comes up, great. If not,
unless you're a felon.
But do you think that certain careers especially have influence over the things that we do? You know what I mean? Like if you're in law enforcement or I guess law enforcement is the best example I can think of. You have a certain mindset. Like I know some people in law enforcement, and they can't really like enjoy like haunted houses and stuff like that because they're always on guard. So when like seriously, like they can't afford to be surprised like that.
Is that a thing?
No, this is
a
little
real
thing.
That's
they never
hilarious.
sit in a restaurant or any building with their back to a door.
No,
well, see, that's normal. I hear that from everybody.
No,
everybody says
but
that.
it's a different level. So it's
That's
like certain.
hilarious.
It's like I feel like certain careers they kind of spill over into your life whether or not you want. Like I by trade I'm marketing, so whenever I'm marketing and design, so I can't like look at a movie without being like, they use that font. I wonder why they did that because that font looks terrible.
Do you do that just because you're you? You were doing that before you got into marketing.
Well, maybe that's it.
You were doing that just because you're a nerd.
Maybe my career is the career that I'm in because of how I was already.
Pretty much. You're a nerd. That's how it works. And Dr. Saudia is obviously good at attachment stuff with relationships, so it works out.
She's good at a lot more than that.
What else?
That's just
because she's a minister.
Yeah.
It's a lot, man. I'm still trying to take in this introduction.
I don't know. Maybe
like,
I should have gave Naaman a heads up.
I would have appreciated like some cliff notes or something.
Before we started, I guess.
Maybe we should have had like a little session.
Call my mom and had her pray for us.
Like
really
a
quick.
2-minute prayer, just to hey, please Lord, don't let me say nothing that like
just don't embarrass us,
just
man.
Just don't embarrass us, Lord. Let me just get this through.
Hey, it's like Jesus. Come as you are.
Hey, amen.
For sure. For sure.
We recently had a episode where we're talking about marriage. Had a marriage episode, and one of our friends just got engaged. One of our friends just recently got remarried, and we were talking to them about how did they know that they were ready to get married. So,
right.
Question for you: if somebody's considering getting married, what would be 3 questions that you should say they should ask themselves and have answers to before they ask someone to marry them?
Before they ask someone to marry them?
Yeah. So to kind of help make that decision, if they can, is it 3 questions or any amount of questions really? What are some questions that we should ask ourselves before we ask somebody to marry us?
Well, I'm going to summarize it to just one.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
And I don't really know if it's...
I mean, would it make it easier? So look, hold on. Would it make it easier? What question would you ask? What's like a major question that you would have to ask? Like, if you were going to get married or if somebody you were courting. Like, what would you ask? What would be like
I think it's a little bit different. So for me, because I think everyone has their own thing that they're looking for.
Right.
And so some people, you never know where they are. And I think overall, if I just be completely honest, we as women, we get caught up in the hoopla, and you can get caught up in, my ring, my dress, my wedding day. All right, that's nice, but you want to prepare for the marriage, not for the day. Man. So because of that, and then I'm a therapist, so certain stuff is going to be in my head that probably won't be in the average person's.
So that's why we asking you, right?
So look, I'm saying, like, what would you say? Like, because honestly, I'm curious because you said earlier, when are your happy times? When are your sad times? Like, I never even thought about asking that. Like, I'm gonna ask that in my next date.
Next time
you're gonna be like,
I'm gonna be like, look, first of all,
I wouldn't have got that a regular conversation.
When was the last time you were happy? How did that feel? And when was the last time you went crazy? And how did that end? And then, like, you know what I mean?
He's gonna throw in a question like, tell me about a challenge that you faced. How did you overcome it?
Tell me about an argument.
Is this a date or counseling session?
Tell me about an argument you had with your loved one, and what did you accomplish in that? What did you learn from that situation? I'm serious. It's gonna be a total employment situation, easily.
Don't torture her like that.
Easily.
I mean, I kind of feel like, honestly, just pivoting for 1 second, I feel like that's kind of one of the reasons why I really don't like dating like that. At the beginning, I feel like it's just an interview, like y'all interviewing back and forth, like, oh, do you have your stuff together? Oh, you have your stuff together. Oh, you have your stuff together too. Oh, do you have goals? Oh, you have goals. I have goals too. Great. And it's like you're just trying to get to know each other, and it's like without questions, and I guess questions equates to an interview for me. It's just like you can't really get to know someone.
No,
you need to ask them questions.
Naturally, that's why. I mean, that's why when I said as far as asking those questions, they're not all at one time. You're in moments and you all are sharing. You remember when you were 16, 17, what 22, whatever,
I was
and
lonely a
you're
lot.
talking
I
with
don't
that
know.
person, and you like, oh, I am
Don't do
feeling
that.
you,
Don't do it.
and you don't want to get
Don't
off
do
the
that.
phone.
Yeah.
No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
I was
You
never
know,
like that.
we've
Like,
been
I was
there.
never
So
like that.
it was that conversation. You didn't have to think of specific questions to ask. They just naturally flow.
Yeah,
So
that's
for
true.
me,
True.
those 4 questions, I know they're in my head. And when it's appropriate, that's when it will come out. Maybe in one conversation, very rare that that happens. But most cases, over a span of months, that those come out, because it just allows one conversation to go even greater in depth. But for you to know the core of a person, because at the end of the day, you fall in love with the core of an individual.
Yeah.
And the more information you can find out about that person helps you to connect with them. So in the right moments when you're already connecting, you just ask the right question to help you connect even stronger.
I feel like too many people end up falling in love with an idea.
Yeah.
And the idea of we've been together and, oh, this is going to be so great. And we've been planning this for so long, even though we've both changed and we're not the same people and we've grown apart, but this would be such a good thing. And then they have that idea in their head, and then it's so hard to break off from that idea, to really be honest with yourself. I mean, I've been in relationships for a long periods of time. And
Yeah. Super long.
you have to, so shut up. And
It's not about me now. It's not about me.
And in those moments, it's like a lot of that it's familiarity, it's comfort, and at a certain age, you're like, man, it's like I want to achieve all this stuff with somebody.
Yeah.
Like, do I really want to start over? And it makes it harder to leave a situation, but it has that moment, at least for me, and I know me and Namon have similar stories when it comes to that. At least for me, comes to that moment where I just really had to be honest with myself. Like, am I happy in this situation? Can I see myself, if it doesn't get any better than this, is this satisfactory for me to live the rest of my life?
That's true.
And if that's a no for me, then I can't take it any further.
And in essence, you just summed up what a lot of people do. We get comfortable in a relationship, and even though it's not making us, I don't want to say unhappy, but we're not totally fulfilled.
Right.
And so we get comfortable in the familiarity of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like if you're looking at a red square and a blue square, and you're standing in between the two, and in the red square, you're like, I know what this looks like. I'm familiar with it. It doesn't always make me happy, but I know what to expect from this.
Right.
Over here, you're asking me to jump towards something new. I gotta try hard. I gotta ask you out. I gotta call you, pursue you. Yeah. I gotta pay for dates. I don't want to do all that. That's starting over. That's too much work. And then I don't know what I'm gonna even get as a result. And I'm gonna stay over here in this red square because it's comfortable, because it's familiar.
Right.
So in the past 6 months, I've heard 2 females say that they were okay with the stuff that they were dealing with because it was a known evil. It was like the known bad.
That's sad.
That's
people
terrible.
Do that.
That's crazy.
Out of all marriages, and this is just where the stats come from. If you look at 100%, 47% of those people are getting divorced. So divorce rate has went down 3%. Awesome. All right, still horrible. But for the 50%, the 47% that are staying married, 25% of them are happy. And it's like only 25% of 100%. Really, that's 1/4 of the people are happy in a relationship, which means you're having your intimacy needs met to a degree that is satisfying to you. So that means the other group, they are just living the life because I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to raise these kids by myself. I don't want to start over. I'm too old. I'm too this, too that. No one's going to want me, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to, minimize it, but, we get to a certain place where we feel at this age and stage in life, I should be here and I should be doing this. And when it doesn't match up, well, settle when there's a difference, when you're settling as opposed to compromising. Compromising, I'm getting something out of this. Settling means I'm losing. If you're losing, that's not the place to be.
Nah, losing is definitely not the place to be. Settling. I always feel like when people settle, it ends up coming out 3 years from there or a year later, and it's like, man, I settled, and something else catches their eye, or they're at work and they meet somebody else, and it's like, well, I'm married now, and that's something that would have actually made them happy, but they settled, and now they're questioning, ooh, did I settle? I shouldn't have settled. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just makes me question like, am I gonna get married one day?
Who, you?
Yeah, I mean,
No, you're not.
oh, okay. I got Shiloh though, so it's fine.
You're so encouraging.
I'm just gonna help him out. No, I've already told him he's stuck with Shiloh.
You're
Shiloh
gonna die a lonely man, Rick.
Shiloh is his true love. But it's fine though. You can come and chill on my yacht.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of things are gonna change between me being alone and you having a yacht.
He said he was wealthy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Only on video games. I mean, that doesn't count. You can't spend that money.
You can become a millionaire with this gaming.
But you got to play it though. I'm just talking about video game currency.
You see what I have to deal with, and people wonder why I am the way I am. And he takes those little shots.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just trying to find love, Richard.
We literally have 20 plus episodes of him taking shots at me nonstop for 30 to 40 minutes of episodes.
So. I'm always encouraging, and I'm always teaching you the ways of a gentleman. I'm trying to.
We kind of veered way off of what we were talking about, but going back, you said you had one question that you would say that to ask yourself before asking someone to be with you forever.
Yes. So for me, I would ask, are my intimacy needs being met? And this is where the clinical part of me would actually come out, because it's going to show where I am personally. There are 5 different types of intimacy: recreation, intellectual, social, emotional, and sexual.
Wow.
And
so where is this information at?
Intimacy needs, because remember, I'm an attachment geek. So I'm looking at making certain that I'm with someone who has either secure attachment, earned secure attachment, or is heading in that direction at the very least. And so because of that, you're never going to be at a place where immediately, remember, I'm a minister, so I believe in the scripture where it says 2 shall become one. So it's a process. You're not going to start off with everything on point. You'll grow to get there. But in the beginning, we need to be able to compromise and meet one another halfway. So I might want more quality time than this person is really able to give, because they're like, "Ooh, you smother me," or whatever.
Right.
And it can go all the way to the other end, which is, okay, now we're married, and maybe, you want more sex than I do, and you have to find that happy balance, whatever that is, based off of those different intimacy needs. It's just a matter of, can this person fulfill them? Is this person able? Not necessarily making me happy. That's my job. They're supposed to add to it, not make me. But if my intimacy needs can be met, then I believe that I would be in a relationship that is able to provide me with a secure sense of safety based off of attachment, and allows me to be able to grow with the individual.
What? I had never heard that before. You said 5 different types of intimacy. And that's not what is this? That's not like love languages. That's actual. You need all 5. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, you don't need all 5. So, and this is where sometimes people get a little misconstrued with love languages. So it's 5 love languages. We ascribe generally to 1 or 2.
Right.
You're supposed to be balanced in all 5. When it comes to the different types of intimacy, recreational, which means, can me and Bae hang out, play ball together, play video games, can golf, whatever, right? Intellectual intimacy. I need to be stimulated mentally. Can we carry on, in-depth, serious conversations? Do we have social intimacy? We can hang out in the same social spaces, either social media or in social gatherings, and hold the same space, but still be individuals. Emotionally, can we share our feelings, our heart, and our mind with one another? And then sexual, as far as the physical aspect. So those are 5 different types of intimacy, but then there are also 3 levels to that. Wow. Smallest level is when you're really just sharing joint space. You sit down and watch TV together. You're not really hanging out, you're just sharing the same space. Then the next level to that is support. I think we've all been there, if you Black, where you went to go watch your boyfriend play basketball. I didn't get anything out of that, but him being able to look over and be like, yeah, there go my girl over there, it was nice. So thanks, I did my part. I showed up looking like I needed to be somebody that day, so he wouldn't be embarrassed, right? So you support your partner. And then the highest level is when you're able to do something together, it creates a new bond. So it's the equivalent of when you're dating and you all do something new together, it creates a bond. And that's why you start liking this person, because you're experiencing this thing together. Even if one of you has done it before, it's a new experience as you share with this individual. So when you have all 3 of those elements within these 5 different types of intimacy, it allows you to be able to connect on a higher and deeper level.
Yeah, that was really
Dropping knowledge today.
that was
You got
profound.
Richard
That
over
was
here
great. I'm
tearing
like,
up. Did you see him tearing up earlier? He was over here tearing up. The
I
passion
feel
in the
it.
words
I
that you
really
were saying.
feel it. I mean, it's just like thinking about it. It's like so much that goes into a relationship. I see why the divorce rate is so high because
They don't know.
a lot of people don't. I mean, a lot of people barely want to get to know each other in this day and age. They don't want to get to know each other. They want to jump into something real quick before they really know somebody. And it's like you saying you love this person, but what do you really know about them? Yeah. And I see people fall in love. I use quotation marks so quick, and then as soon as something like one thing happens, like he ain't called me, or she blew me off, and then it's like I don't love her. It's like no, you wasn't in love in the first place. You was jumping into
the buns
and I was gonna say infatuation.
I was gonna say the buns. That's basically what they're jumping into.
Yeah, infatuation, lust, and you confusing it with love, and it's just so much that goes into a relationship because there's so much that goes into us as people.
This is vibes.
That, I mean, if it's so much that goes into you think about how much it takes for you to finally get to be that person that you want to be, to be whole and to really know yourself. You think about that, another person's going through that, and then y'all have to join yourselves together. That's a lot.
It's a vibe, man. This is a lot of information, Dr. Saudia. I'm telling you, this is.
I'm sorry.
No. This is great.
It's
this is
good
great
because the thing is like, I mean, it just validates, everything that I've been writing, everything that I've been studying in my book. It just validates everything. I haven't written it or made any notes, but
but when you get to that point,
I don't have a title. I haven't even started writing it. But the logic of what I'm saying is everything that it's just it lines up. It goes together. You should have more information about the languages you're trying to speak before you actually just start trying to speak those languages. I mean, and I say that to say like. Intimacy, learning about love, learning about those different types of things before you actually go and do them. Like that's a concept. Like that should be taught. Like why is love and intimacy, why aren't these things actually taught?
Oh my gosh, that is my biggest.
Oh man, look at that.
Yeah.
I know. That just like stuck with me because we will sit down and I won't say we, because we're just getting to a place where we will sit down and discuss with our children finances and money. But we'll sit down and have certain conversations with our kids, or we'll even, when we have them go to school and then they're learning certain things, we'll make certain that they learn about that. But we never really sit down and say, okay, this is how we love people. Man. This is how we're supposed to show and experience and receive love. We don't really do that. Now, if you're African American, I'm just going to be honest. We haven't always had that as a privilege.
Yeah, true.
We, have had too much to overcome, and make a long story short, survival was at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Once you get past that to a place where there's comfort, it was like, hey, you all need to get an education. It's the best way to be able to make it in this world. So we really didn't have a lot to be able to share with our children because we were focused on other things. Now that we are becoming more familiar with that and research provides it, I think we do need to show people how to love, because no matter what I do in my work, I don't care who I'm working with. I tell people at the beginning, I'm going to find out where along the way love hurt you, didn't benefit you, or where love went wrong. Yeah. You might not know this, but I'll find it. And when I show it to you, I'll be 100% right. Never has failed yet. And in my opinion, it's just because I think we all need love. I haven't met anybody yet who doesn't want love. But in essence, I think we all want love. No, and you never have I met someone who said, yes, I want to die old by myself with having no one around me. We don't do that. We always want, as we get older, loved ones to be there. We want someone special in our life because we realize what's important. Right. And it's people, not things. It's a person, not, just gallivanting with whoever, whenever.
That's so deep. It just makes me think of it was Big Sean just released a new album, and on one of the songs he was saying they're snapping. Y'all can't see them. They're snapping right now.
Let me tell you, I'm giving everybody the sauce.
I gotta give them the sauce.
Maybe we were snapping to each other so nobody else would see.
We gotta share it with the audience. Anyway, what I was saying is that Big Sean came out with an album, and one of the things that he was saying that school taught him so many different things, but school didn't teach him how to deal with anxiety. It's so many different things that we go through, especially as African Americans, that we are not taught to deal with in constructive ways. So we end up dealing with these things in ways that are super unhealthy, and nobody and I, like hearing about people not wanting to be able to cry, and you're supposed to hold it in, and and so many people just going crazy because they're holding so much in, and they're not knowing how to deal with their emotions, and they're looking to be fulfilled, and they're looking for the wrong things to fulfill them, and they get addicted to drugs and sex and relationships, and they going back and forth to different things because they're looking to be fulfilled, but the thing that's going to fulfill them is really in them, and they're looking for these other things to fill that void temporarily.
Yeah, I think that's facts, because I can think about thinking about reading anything when it came to like school. I remember reading something about Christopher Columbus, something. I remember that, but I think it would have been better if I had been reading about like mental disorders or, things like that, or things that are actually common in today's world. Honestly, it would have been nice to learn about these types of things, mental situations, relationships,
budgeting,
like anything like that. I mean, budgeting with a relationship, anything that would have, I guess, helped me, aside from the business aspect of life, or learning about geology and things like that, like it would have been nice to have that background as well. It's crazy.
I mean, good thing that we have shows like this, right?
Good thing we have Dr. Saudia on our side.
Educating us to be whole.
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
Somebody else can't make you whole, y'all.
I feel like the next conversation she has with us, because of course
next one.
She's good. Right, of course. Because of obviously
he's like planning your next episode.
She's our new best friend. She's having a conversation with her best friends. Why wouldn't she talk to us again? I feel like we have to like play some Erykah Badu in the background.
I don't know if we can get that cleared.
We can figure it out, or at least have some incense lit. We have to change the lighting. I feel like this lighting is inappropriate for the things that she's saying today, and I feel like we're disrespecting the whole concept of what she's saying. Like with his love languages, intimacy. Oh man,
you really feel inspired.
Like I feel
right
like
now.
So if I called you when I was like on a date. Just like be in my ear, help me with those
that's
questions.
Like that movie,
right.
He's just not that into you. And that girl kept calling. I think his name was Alex. I don't know what her name was. She was like, Alex, he's saying blah 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 blah. He's like, no, he's playing you. Get out of there.
Right. Like it feels
like
like
a translator.
You like Hitch or something. He's like, man, just gonna hit you up. Just like 1 minute. All right. So what were you saying? Just be sitting over there listening.
Man, Hitch. I feel like Hitch has so many different lessons in it, and I feel like it could have been written better for the time. I really love that movie, but looking back at it now, it's so much about just being able to have that opportunity. A lot of times people don't put themselves in position to have the opportunity to even have a chance at something. Right. And he was kind of he was giving them that opportunity. And my favorite line from the movie is when he was breaking down communication, and he's saying like 90% of what you're saying is not coming out your mouth. I was like, all right, that's deep. He started talking about body language and tone and all of that stuff. And that was really deep.
One of my favorite things he said was, never lie unless you're lying with the one you love.
Do you remember the rest of it?
Deep? No, I don't.
I can't. He said like 3 things.
That was like,
that's a good
but
movie.
He said a few things that came, but it was like, it was cheesy.
It's like if you cheat death.
Right. If you cheat death. And it was one or the other one he said.
It was one more because it was 3.
If you drink or something. Was it something about drinking?
No, they were drinking.
Well, maybe it was about drinking.
Maybe.
I don't know. Anywho.
He was meeting with, was her name Alex too?
Her name was,
I want to say.
No, his name was Alex. Her name
Eva
was.
something? Mendez.
No, Eva Mendez. But what was her name in the movie?
Eva Mendez.
No, that wasn't her name. Anyway, Mila Kunis or something.
Mila
like
Kunis,
that.
that's another person.
Mila Kunis.
I thought it was Mila something.
That's a whole nother actress. Like,
just throw that in there.
No, it's not Eva Mendez.
I like
it's Mila
that movie
Kunis.
too. And to be honest, I use a couple of clips in presentations.
Yeah.
But I only use the clips where it's him and her, because I'll show how he might educate other people on how to open up to, create that relationship. But when it came down to it, you saw attachment coming out when they couldn't communicate, when they're behind that door and he's like, oh, do I knock? And she's like, wait, mama, go. No, I'm not. Right. So it's a few little scenes that I'll use that show that we all tend to struggle at times with attachment, but we push past that.
I hate how Hollywood always does this thing where it's always, so it'll be like the guy do something and apologize, the girl will do something, and then the girl will mess it up, but then they got to make it so that it's somehow the guy's fault so he can come back later and do a grand gesture.
Is that not how your life works?
No.
Mine works just like that.
Does it work like that?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I feel like it kind of, I feel like that's a podcast topic that that's going to be on another episode, but I feel like movies really set people up for unrealistic relationship expectations.
You're not supposed to be expecting your relationship to be like a movie.
So what the thing about it is being in marketing and studying marketing, the thing is movies influence people way more than they would be willing to admit.
Okay.
You start thinking about the diamond industry. Yeah, tell me about your college education.
I can't. So in my study and my research.
And what research is that?
You're saying movies. Are you saying relationship movies or movies in general?
Just movies in general.
Have you ever seen any of the Marvel films?
I've seen, yes, all of them.
Do those films influence you to do anything, such
Oh my
as
goodness.
flying and or hitting the ground and breaking it?
Not every movie, man.
That's what we were just discussing. That's crazy. That's insane.
Oh my Lord.
That's insane.
Anyway, so thinking about the way that certain movies are set up, when De Beers wanted to really push diamonds, because diamonds aren't as rare as most people think, they put them in the movies, and they started putting taglines in the movies, and they would go to the movie studios and give diamonds to executives to make sure that they put diamonds in their movies. And what that did, everybody saw it, and it put this idea in their head, and our brains are hardwired, even though we might know better, that once that's stuck in your head, is there and it's hard to get rid of. So I don't know. I just feel like movies give a lot of us an unrealistic expectation of what to expect in a relationship sometimes.
Yeah.
But isn't in most cases, especially if it's a romantic comedy or a romantic film, that they know that it's a chick flick, and so their population or target is women. So
see, me and you know that, Dr. Saudia, but
and going back to attachment, most women are anxious, which means they're in their head about emotions and they're very emotional. So because of that, they are connecting with what is actually being depicted on the film.
I guess
they see themselves.
See, you just like enlightening me and everything today. Look at that.
Me and you know that, Dr. Saudia. We know that.
That's just how I see it. I could be wrong. I don't know everything.
Richard, on the other hand, he's up there watching. What's that movie, The Notebook? he's trying to.
That is like.
He's
I've
trying
never
to find
seen
a
that
woman
movie.
to lift
Favorite
up in the
film
rain
of all time.
You said that's your favorite film of all time?
Yeah, that and Love and Basketball.
Why does everybody love and basketball?
For the same reason everybody loves Notebook.
It's like that last scene. It's like, you won't be able to beat me if you love me.
That was awesome. He kicked her tail.
And then he was like, what, 2 out of 3?
No, double or no.
Oh, my man. Look, you know your movie.
He kicked her tail. I would have done the same thing.
So many movie references in this episode.
You're like, I don't need this brace, fam. Move on.
I would have bet her some candy on that. I would have look, I need $5. We put money on this.
Corny, like, I'm gonna play you for your heart. I was like, we could have just had a conversation, but I get it.
Say, girl, you're not that good. Look,
all right,
boom,
I'll go along with you, since that's what you wrote.
All right. So, what is one piece of advice that you would give someone looking to date?
Looking to date, as in they don't want to date because they're afraid to?
No, like somebody who, all right, let's just use me for example. I hate using me for example because everybody always thinks it's like really me asking
It
this.
is you.
Anyway.
I have this friend.
I have a friend, wink wink.
I have this guy who needs love.
Thinking about dating again. What's a piece of advice that you would give somebody who's thinking about jumping back into the dating pool?
Be open and don't put everything in a box. Simple.
Yeah.
In a box. Like, what do you mean by it? But can you expand?
Generally, we have, in my opinion, I'm not saying this is every guy, but if I were telling a guy this, there is no such thing as perfect, girl. So because of that, don't automatically have this list that, I don't know, Mother Teresa or Jesus can't fulfill themselves. Pick your top 3 items, because at the end of the day, that's what you're going back to.
Thank you.
That you are looking for. This person won't be perfect. So be open. Right. So I had this friend and he said that okay, it's not that it's about me, but it's
see
so
what
I'm
I
not
mean?
trying to
See
make
what I
focus
mean?
on that.
This
I
isn't about you.
Friend who, when I dated him, he said that he was looking for someone who could fulfill the hat trick. I didn't know much about hockey.
Okay.
And basically,
I thought she was
have
talking
to get
about
it right.
baseball.
But it's these 3 things in hockey that if you do it, it's sort of like in basketball, a triple double, right?
Yeah.
Right.
With your and rebounds. And so in the hockey with the hat trick, the concept is you fulfill these 3 things. This is like a perfect game. And so he was basically saying, I'm only looking for a few things. And if that person fulfills those few things, then they've opened the door to us being able to create something together. So in essence, when you are only looking for a few things, no one's going to be perfect. There's 2 sides to a coin. I love funny people. Well, funny people are great. If I look at it like a coin on the head side, that's fabulous. But tail side, when I'm trying to have a serious conversation, it takes a few minutes to calm them down because they're nervous. And that's how they kind of calm themselves down. So
Reminds me of somebody
you
I
want
know.
somebody who's just going to
nervous,
really be
fool.
open, meaning they aren't looking for one specific thing because you're not looking fully at the package. If it's a guy, I get it, you're visual, so you're somewhat looking at the package, so you have to be attracted to it, of course, but you aren't zoned in on that one specific thing because that becomes perfect, girl, and there's no such thing. She's going to have some flaw, so if you're open, you can look past the flaw while you're looking at other strengths.
Nice.
Wow. That was good.
That was good.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Like,
it was all right.
That was good.
It's vibes.
The hat trick, you put the sports references in there.
Yeah, I'm that girl that, brothers growing up with my dad.
Yeah, I don't even know.
A lot of guy friends. So I'm that girl that, talks language in order to talk to men and women. And
I mean, it's always important to be able to speak the language of the person that you're trying to talk to. So it's important to be able to relate.
Or at least to pretend.
Because I feel like whenever you communicate, the more you can relate, especially when we go back to marketing because it's my background. Whenever we're in marketing, we try to come up with something that's going to relate to the people that we're trying to reach. So we try to speak to them on their level, on their language. If they're looking for something luxurious, we're not going to sell them on like the low price. That's not what we're going to sell them on. We're going to sell them on a higher model. So it's always good to be able to relate on a person on their level.
That's true.
All right. So what would be a piece of advice that you give to a couple that's already dating?
Be intentional.
That's a good word.
Yes.
Nice.
So just because you're dating, now I will say I do have a pet peeve when I hear dating people posting on social media pics. Date night, you're dating. That's what you should be doing. So you don't get bonus points for this. If you're married, you get bonus points because you are juggling life.
There it is.
True.
When you simply just dating or you've been together for a while, yeah, you should be dating because that's what you're supposed to do. But be intentional. Don't be complacent because when we become complacent, we begin to take our partner for granted and we don't appreciate them. And that begins to stir up the pot for problems.
Wow. You just dropped so much knowledge on
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
I'm going to have to actually listen to this episode.
Hold up, you don't listen to our episodes? Like, what is going on?
This is what I do for a living.
I mean,
I don't like to hear myself repeat myself.
And you're really good at it.
It's
like,
I try. God has been good to me. I try.
Amen. Yes, he has. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really do hope. I mean, Namon's already scheduling you in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She's our best friend. Like, why do you keep saying it like it's not happening? Like, why do you keep saying that?
He's already scheduling.
I need more knowledge. Like, I gotta get this. I've got to get more information.
Get rid of my new besties.
No way. See,
like,
look, we're tight now. We're here.
Heck, like I say, next time you see me, it's gonna be all vibes. I'm gonna have it set up. Like I'm gonna
you
set
were
some
shading
vibes
me in the beginning. Like,
who shaded you?
I don't know about this.
Whoa, who said that?
You didn't give me the green light on her. Rick.
No, you didn't. No, he didn't give me. Look, so my thing is this: Richard likes to.
Oh, man,
he likes to throw like what do you call bombs into the situation. And he likes to see how I react. And most of the time, he don't think I'd be serious. So when I do come and I'm like, wait, whoa, what happened here? I'm usually confused. I'm usually confused at the fact that, hey, this was actually a good choice. He doesn't really make these.
I don't know. I don't think he realizes that a lot of times he just wants to come on the show. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna steer the ship. I got you. So.
Well, that's the thing. See, I don't need that. But see, Dr. Saudia, she was perfect. Like, this is what you need to do every time.
Look at that. He's putting you in a box already.
Perfect.
Look at
She's
that.
Perfect. She is. She's, I mean,
I
I'm saying.
can live up to this.
Well, no, and
Wow.
I say that. Well, the thing is, I don't personally know you, but I mean, it from what you're saying and your values that you are quote unquote teaching us. I mean, it sounds like you've got a pretty good platform. You know what I mean? So the knowledge that you're giving us, it's vibes. Like,
It is
it's
vibes.
great
Vibes is the
knowledge.
word I was going to use, yeah.
It's right. Exactly. See?
Vibes is definitely,
It's great
that's
vibes.
definitely the word
Like,
that
it's
I was
extremely
gonna
great
use.
vibes. And that's the thing is, like, it's, in my opinion, the way life goes, everything that is supposed to be for you, it links perfectly. There's no confusion. There's no hesitation. There's none of that. It just links. It interlinks. It intertwines. And the things that you're saying, it's just going through. It's a lot. But it's not like, what? You know what I mean? Like, most people, like Richard, when he's speaking,
Oh my goodness.
I'm just sitting here like, what are you talking about? Like, the whole time. But when you speak, I can say maybe some people wouldn't say you're perfect, but I would say you're perfect. It's incredible. You're giving us vibes. It's like, I'm happy to be here. I've never been happy to be on the show with Richard, but I'm happy to be on the show with you, Dr. Saudia.
Thanks.
You
thanks,
are
cuz.
amazing.
I mean, I can't agree.
No
She's
offense,
amazing.
Richard. No
She is
offense.
amazing. Yes.
No offense, Richard.
Totally amazing. So you know what you need to do? You need to check out her show.
That's what I was gonna ask. So what
Can you tell us
her
about your show, please?
I need that information.
So on my show, on my podcast, Aerosmith Agape, I talk about all things related to love, sex, marriage, and relationships. And I really just help people to try to understand pitfalls, overcome pitfalls, and to really develop healthy, loving relationships.
And that's on all streaming platforms, right?
It's available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Aerosmith Agape website.
Oh, that's the best place to go, y'all. Y'all need to check her out on her website. What about your social media?
If you actually go on the website, if you're interested about attachment, because I know we talked a lot about that today, take the quiz. It's really quick, like 2 or 3 minutes. It'll teach you what your attachment style is. Yes. And attachment is all about learning how and why you love the way that you do. And so it's a real quick way to be able to get that knowledge. And then at the end, you get a little gift. It's a little workbook. So if you see something you want to work on, I have a workbook for you to kind of walk you through it.
Boom.
Free of charge, no cost for nothing.
Now look at that. She's
about to do that. I'm about to.
She's dropping stuff down for y'all for free. That's how nice she is. Look at that. Oh, what about
that's that Christian side?
There
of
it is.
Sowing seeds that'll come back.
Amen, sister.
There we go.
What about your social media? Where can they find you at on social?
On Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Aerosmith Agape.
Lovely. Well, as always, everybody, thanks for listening. To be a part of the conversation, you can find us at Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Rick and Namon. Please be sure to rate and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcasting app. You can find me at Dodgism. You can find Namon at
I am the DJ Blue. Why did you look at me like that?
What did I look at you like?
You act like you were confused about what we're saying. But anywho, I am the DJ Blue, and I'm happy to be here with Dr. Saudia.
Not with me, but with Dr.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't even blame you. I can't even blame him.
I didn't mean it like, I swear I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way. I'm happy to be here with you too, as well. Meaning, also.
Well,
Also.
Until next time, boys and girls, remember,
there's always a next time.